welcome to another episode of Shooting
the Shit with Rachel
and Neal Young. So we're talking all things real estate photography business growth, mindset, and getting it done. Here come your favorite true entrepreneurs, Rachel and Neal Young, shooting the shit.
I have a ferret on the podcast. Like if we're kind of in a slump, like what kind of things do you do?
Talking about a boob light.
Straddling a power line.
Nice photo.
Ooh, I need that.
I'm like red right now because I'm embarrassed. I go like this. I love it.
Come in.
Sure, use your podcast voice.
You know, over here, I'm pitting out.
Drone's like flipping to the ground.
That's a great callback.
Chit-chatting.
Is that what you call that?
This episode is brought to you by my admin. Well, HD Photo Hub, which is basically like having an admin.
That's right. And it's not just a delivery platform. It's a powerhouse designed to make your work shine. From stunning teaser videos and social media reels to custom property websites and polished printable flyers, HD Photo Hub automates it all so you can focus on what matters, growing your business.
That's right. Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. Today we've got a question from a listener. I really appreciate Johnathan reaching out with this, and it's a good one. We're going to dive into this question and hopefully help Johnathan out and maybe some of you who are feeling the same way. Today we're talking all about sort of the pressure, the noise of this sort of influencer-based pressure to make, $100,000 in your business, and that being what's important.
Yes, the six figures that everyone is striving for and the money, right? It does start to feel like everyone, especially if you're on social media, it feels like the industry, everyone's worried about how much money they're making, and everyone's posting about how much money they're making, and everyone's talking about how it's so easy to make six figures in this business. And, they make it sound like he's saying, if you're not doing that, then you're failing.
Yeah, they do make it sound so easy, and then it does feel like, oh, well, let's start by reading the full question that we got, or the comment we got from Johnathan. So Johnathan says, "Hey guys, longtime fan, first time caller," with the laughing face. Love it. "Lately, I've been struggling with staying motivated in the industry where it feels like the amount of money you make defines the success in the industry. There's all these YouTubers and influencers talking about six figures this and six figures that. And if you make anything less, you're failing as a business. How do you two either avoid this or keep the noise down?" Right? And it was really, really well written, I thought, too. I was like, wow, yeah, you know what? That's a good point. And I think that even on the podcast, we're focused on growth, right? Mm-hmm. It's a big thing. We're trying to help people grow their business and stuff. But it's easy to go too far on the scale of defining your worth based on the income you're making. And that's not, some of us probably got into the business for that, just thinking about money. We got to pay the bills. But then it can't be the only thing. And when your business takes up so much of your life, if that's really your core focus, I think your quality of life is going to start to suffer too. So let's chat about it. Let's start with where all this pressure is coming from, right?
Yeah, totally. So we are seeing it everywhere. All of the gurus on YouTube and Instagram and all the platforms are always talking about how to make more money. How, they flaunt all their pretty cars and their cool trips. And it's really easy to get in that comparison trap and start comparing yourself to them. Even peers around you in the industry that you see doing really well. And, I do this with my work all the time. I compare my work to other creators' work all the time, and I start to get down on myself. And it's a slippery slope. It's dangerous because you can really get into depression over it. Like it can really ruin your day or bring you down if you're not grounded and rooted in your core beliefs and values, right? So I don't know. I just think there's a lot of people out there. You have to know there's a lot of people out there who are trying to sell you something. And the main hook that they use to sell you is how I made $1 million in a year, or how I made $100,000 this month, and that is intriguing to so many people because so many of us are money motivated. We all want the money because when you have the money, then your life's perfect, right?
Right.
Wrong. Newsflash. You still are the same person when you were poor as when you were rich. So if you are a piece of crap, not a very nice person, when you get money, that's just going to be amplified.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really it doesn't change who you are. Yes, it opens the possibilities of what you're able to do, right?
Yeah.
And your freedom and your flexibility with being
Yeah.
able to go on trips and
Yeah.
buy things that you want to make your life better. But at the end of the day, money is not going to bring you happiness. I think we all know
Right.
that.
Right.
But
There's the good that money can do, right?
mhm.
And but it's not everything. And I think there's also just a whole culture of real estate. You know, when you want to be a high-end real, you want if your sign of success as a video creator is when you're filming the multi-million dollar listings, right? And so
Mhm.
there's that whole culture too. And then you've got the agents who feel like they've made it when they're selling the multi-million dollar homes. So I mean, the whole culture, the agents are trying to look like they're rich even if they aren't. They're trying to get the most expensive car, so they show up like, I know what I'm doing. So there's a lot of that culture where we're surrounded by it. I think it is easy to get pulled into that. And of course, we all want cool, awesome things,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that has to be our priority. And I think what Jonathan was saying was like, he got into this to as a did we read that? Did that come up? Hold on.
No. We're
Hold
missing
on.
a key factor here.
We're missing part of this.
Yes.
We ended with how have you two either avoided this or kept the noise down? And he continues to say, when I started my business, I did it just to do something on my own. But lately, I've been having a hard time relating to the industry because of the constant drive to maximize as much money as possible. Yeah. So yeah, I think part of this here too is that he wanted to be independent and do something on his own. And that's a big reason why I didn't go back to a day job, is because I wanted to be in control of my life. And that's a factor of it too. Growth, a big part of growth for me, yeah, I'd like to better my life and be able to go on more vacations and support my family. Those are super important to me. And the only way I can do that is with more money. So I have to grow for that. But then the other part of it is I really wanted control of my life. I had this idea a long time ago, the 4-day work week. Why can't I
Hmm.
have 4 days of work and 3 days off, right? It's not that crazy.
Yeah.
And I still want to get there. I've had to go the opposite to try and get there first, though, which I think is the case for a lot of us. But so yeah, if you got into it to be independent and do your own thing, and that makes you happy, some people, everybody has a different budget too. Like everybody has different expenses.
Yeah.
If
That's
you own your
amazing.
house and you own your car and you don't have as many bills and such, you could get by on a lot less than I have to currently get by on with 2 leases in a house and stuff, and be perfectly happy. And Rachel's got a chicken coop that makes her happy, and I think yeah, it doesn't have to be. Money isn't the only thing that identifies success, I'll say.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. And I was going to say that too. It's all about too, like, what's your budget? Like, how much? It doesn't sound like money is much of an issue with this guy. I don't know what his financial situation is,
Right.
but oh, so one thing I've noticed, I know a broker who moved into an area of town that is extremely expensive, like a lot of money, and he's renting a place there because that's his target market. So he's pretending to live that lifestyle. He can't afford it. I mean, maybe he can, but he's doing better than he was last year. It's working. He went from like 2 deals year one to like 25 year two. So he's doing good. But like, that's just to show like he's getting into an area, trying to live in that area so that he can capture those people, which I think is interesting. And we also see a lot of people who buy the Range Rover and the expensive cars, that are, it's just for show, it's just to look like we don't really need that car to get from point A to point B. Um, but I think people associate what you drive with your level of success, which I got sucked into that. I drove a Maserati for a couple of years, which was awesome. It was fun, but I honestly shouldn't have bought it either. That should
Yeah.
not have been, that wasn't a smart move on my end. But, live and learn. But I think too, it's like as soon as you make more money, you just go buy more stuff. At least most people do. It's like
Yeah.
if you can make more money and not buy more stuff and not upgrade your house and not upgrade your car, and actually save that money and put it away or invest back into your business to grow more, that's one thing. But
Sorry to interrupt. If you haven't heard, Rach and I are using Pixl CRM.
Pixel CRM isn't just another boring tool. It's basically your business's best friend. With Pixel CRM, you can automate your lead generation, follow-ups, client communication, and stay top of mind with email campaigns. And there's just so much more.
And if you want, you can try it out today. Just go to pixelcrm.com/STS, and you're going to get the first month of Pixel CRM free. Yeah.
I think we live in a consumerism age.
Yeah.
Our culture is all about consumerism. So buying, buying, buying. Everything that we buy is basically you're going to run through it quickly and you're going to need to go buy more. So that's just the way our culture is. We are fed messaging from a very young age that we need these cool pants to look a certain way. We are shown visuals of pretty women with beautiful makeup and perfect bodies and great clothing, and we think we need to look like that too. So unfortunately, the American culture is bred on propaganda to get you to buy stuff. And that's what our whole society is. Do you know what the number one leisurely activity is in America?
What?
Shopping.
Yeah.
Which is so sad. So sad. Recently,
That's one of the things that makes, I mean, honestly, it makes me happy when I order something on Amazon. It makes me happy when the package shows up. It makes me happy. When my wife's bummed out, I know if we go just to TJ Maxx, it makes her happy. So yeah, it's ingrained into us from an early age. Think about Barbie. Barbie's dream
right.
house. She has this house. She has a Corvette.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
But you look at these other third world countries where like I think it's the Philippines. There are like the second happiest culture in the world. And
Yeah.
they make like the least amount of money. And Jan, my VA lives there, and I asked him, I go, why do you think that is? And he goes, I think it's because of family. Because we all get together. We're with friends and family all the time. We have a huge support system. And that's their focus. It's not about how much stuff they have or upgrading their house or, painting or cleaning up the yard or whatever, like all these things that we do kind of just that are external. They're worried more about internal, like how are their relationships? How are they connecting with other people and supporting their family and loving their family? So that was really interesting to me. That kind
No,
of
totally.
like,
I
wow.
remember that too when I was reading about Online Jobs PH. They have a lot of information on there, which is pretty cool when you're looking to hire an admin or something. They had a lot of information about that, about how family is such a huge part of their culture there. And like Christmas time is a huge thing. Like they spend a lot of time with their family. It's not just like a day, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. And there's a lot going on. But yeah. So yeah, so I guess, you know, determining what's really important to you, what your core values are, if you can do okay, write my note on my deathbed, what's it gonna say that I accomplished that I'm most proud of? Uh, that's not gonna be that you bought a Maserati. It's gonna be that, you raise a family and they're happy, or that, whatever. But I think if you start by really figuring out what is super important to you, I think you can tie that into your business as a fundamental principle of your business. And every decision you make with your business, if you can look at that and go, is that in line with this? I think that can help. And then if you look at social media, if you look at the content that you ingest, the books that you read, the TV shows you watch, pay attention to what you're ingesting. And if you're following people that's all they're showing off, you can unfollow those accounts.
Yeah.
And you can actively search out for like-minded people and like-minded content.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember that show. There's a really cool show. I forget what it's called. This guy who just leaves society and goes to Alaska and builds a cabin with his bare hands and just goes and lives there. And he's perfectly happy. He gets like a monthly delivery, one of those the planes that land in a pontoon plane lands in the water, like delivers his supplies like once a month, and
Wow.
and he's happy. So
That
he definitely
sounds
knew what
magical.
was important to him, right?
Yeah, I could live like that. I really could,
Yeah.
which is amazing. Yeah, that would be crazy. But I say that, and then a month in, I'd be like, all right, I'm done. I think I'd be good for like 2 months, maybe three, and then I'd probably, I don't know, maybe I'd love it.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? But
And I hope that we don't, because we talk about growth a lot too. And I
yeah.
hope that that doesn't feel like pressure. And literally, that's why recently I was trying to grow the business and then ran into a bunch of hurdles. And then was back to myself again. And I said, you know what? Maybe I don't need all that. Maybe it's just me.
Hmm.
But now, in going back to that, I realized that, thinking about what I really want out of life really is more of that 4-day work week. And I want to be able to change my life and my family's life and support my parents and buy a house. These things are what I want to do. And I know it's not possible staying the same.
Hmm.
Um, so for me, the path is, even though I don't love the management stuff as much as going out and doing the shooting, I see that as the path to get to where I want to go so that I can focus on other things like growing our podcast and focusing on what I really like to do is I really like helping the agents, whether that's with some of the social media stuff we started or helping them on camera or like creating content on social media to help people be good on camera or even just having fun creating ridiculous content on social media. I'd like to do more of that, but in order to do that, I need to I need to replace my income
Hmm.
somehow. So I see um, one of the most upfront ways to do that is to start getting shooters to start getting some of my time back so that I can focus on those things. So, growth can, so long as it's for in line with your ideals and what you want, growth doesn't have to be a bad thing either. And wanting to be rich and have a island, I don't think is a bad thing either if that's what you want. But it's just got to tie in with your core values.
Totally. Yeah. And when I started doing this podcast, I had really big goals. I was like, I want to make $1 million a year
Hmm.
and I want a Lamborghini. And I was very open about it. And honestly, like my head kind of got a little inflated because between COVID and buying that client list in 2020, my business tripled. And it was like, woohoo, if this is all it is, like I can do this, I can make this much money. And at the end of the day, it was like, that was so hard on me physically and mentally. Like, oh gosh, I was exhausted. And then finally it gets to 23 and it slows down and the team cuts back, right? We made less money. But like I was making plenty to pay my bills plus some. Like I was
Hmm.
fine. And I wasn't budgeting, which I should have been because I would have a lot more money right now, maybe another property. But that's a whole other subject. We'll get to that. But like I have now, and then with my stepson getting cancer this summer, I really have reevaluated my goals, like what's really important to me. And, my husband and I don't live together. He has a house, I have a house, and then we have our Airbnb together. So we pay three mortgages. Obviously, the Airbnb pays for itself plus some, so we're fine there. But like I pay all my bills at my house and he pays all his bills at his house. So I'm kind of like a single mom, like a single income, really, here. And he moves in with me in a year and a half, and then we're going to rent his house out. So when that happens, like we're going to have more money than we know what to do with. It's going to be great. But we're going to be smart with that and put it away and try and get a couple more properties so we
Mm.
can do exactly what Neil's talking about, which is free up my time. My biggest thing is like I want passive income. I want to not have to work. I want to be able to travel anywhere I want, whenever I
Me
want.
too. Oh,
And
I
I
want
think
to
that's
travel so bad.
isn't that
Yeah.
like everyone's dream though? Like
Yeah.
everyone's like, I just want to work from home or I don't want to have to go unless I want to go. You want that freedom. And it's like, I wonder
Mhm.
what the percentage is of people that actually accomplish that
Mm.
because I bet it's not very high. And I think on social media, people make it look really easy. And I think it makes you like it. I'm mad at myself that I haven't done it yet because I've poured a lot of money and a lot of time and effort into education on how to do that. And I just haven't, I've dropped the ball on myself multiple times because I'm too busy doing other
Mm.
things.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's fine. It's the path that I'm on and I wouldn't change anything. I think it's molded me into who I am today, which I'm happy with where I'm at. And maybe the timing's just not right. Maybe it's just not, that's not in my plan. Like God's plan, He has a plan for me, and maybe He's making me wait for a reason. Maybe I'm not
Mm,
ready to live,
mm.
with passive income yet. Like, who knows? Maybe I have some more molding and shaping to do. He's got to like put me through a couple more twists and turns before I can
He
be
didn't
free
want you to
sailing.
waste it all on a Maserati.
Right? Yeah. And that's probably what I would have done. Let's be honest. I would have been like, oh, we're going to go get the Lambo now. We're upgrading. He's
Yep.
like, no, give it to the poor, you dummy. So, anyways, I just think that, my goals have changed and my perspective has changed on things. And it's made me evaluate all the different business ventures that I have, right? Because I have Focused Media Collective, which,
Yep.
we're a team of four. And then well, four shooters, but anyways. And then I've got the podcast with you, Neil, and we've created a couple online courses, which really doesn't eat up that much time. It's probably 3 hours a week, if that. Right. And I love it. Like, I'm not quitting this. That was not an option. Focus Media Collective pays my bills. And then I have Master Plan Media, which is the production company. We do the traveling and the show and all that. And we just got onto local TV, and that's more on weekends. That is random Zoom calls. I mean, it was starting to eat up more and more of my time. And I
Mm,
was just feeling so much pressure. And then with my stepson being sick and like
mm.
me wanting to just spend more time with the family and not being able to, because I felt like I was having, when you have mom guilt, when you feel
Mhm.
bad because you're not hanging out with your kids, or like you're
Oh
not
yeah.
paying enough attention to them and you feel really guilty and you're like, ugh.
Hmm.
Well, I had that for my businesses, like all three of them. And I was like,
Right.
I'm not putting enough attention towards Focused or towards the podcast. The podcast was fine, but it could have been better. Like we're so random with our topics. Anyways, it's fine. It's kind of who we are, but it's better
So
now.
random.
Now we're a lot more
We're
focused.
so
And
random.
then master plan, I'm like, we could be way more organized in master plan. Like, I need to jump in more there. And I just can't do it. I'm one person.
Yeah.
So I decided, it was a really hard decision, but I decided to just step out from of master plan and give up my ownership in the company. And I told Dan, I said, I can be your photographer or media talent if you'd like, but I just can't build the business. Like, I don't have the bandwidth or the mental capacity to do all three of these things right. And I'm the type of person, like, when I do something, I want to do it right and I want to go all in. And I just couldn't stand that feeling anymore, of feeling overwhelmed all the time.
And
And
what's part of what, and so to help people listening who have a similar feeling about, is this what I want, or is this direction I should still continue in? How did you come to the conclusion with all the things you're juggling that you finally said, you know what, I think this is the right decision to cut back in this area? How did you help come to that conclusion, Rach?
I mean, like, after at PMRE, I was talking to some people and I was just so, I don't know, what's the word? I was so impressed with
Mhm.
the passion that everybody there had for photography.
Mm,
Like, they love it.
mm,
They're learning the new techniques. They know everything about the gear. Like, they have the time to put in to really master their craft.
mm, mhm,
Not to say that I haven't, but like, I don't have that same passion for photography. I
mhm,
don't. I love marketing. I love
mm,
making reels. I love being on camera. I love production. So at PMRE, I was thinking I'm like seeing all these people. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I need to do master plan more full time, which means I need to get two more shooters, build Focused and grow it bigger so that I can fully step away and then just do master plan. Right.
mm, mhm.
That was my game plan in November, 2 months ago, 3 months ago,
Okay.
leaving PMRE. That was my
Okay.
thought. And then I got home and it was like we started booking because we kind of changed our format. So we have this real estate roadshow that's on every week, and we are going to get 12 clients and then we give them reoccurring content every month or every month. So it was
Mhm,
going to be 12 clients that we needed to film with every month. And I'm sitting there adding up the numbers going, oh my gosh, this is so much time. Like, how am I going to grow Focused and manage part of the marketing for that and do the podcast and the courses you and I built, and then also try to film and be gone on the weekends? It was just, and it was honestly a lot of praying. And the Lord just spoke to me and He said, you need to quit master plan. And I was like, it made it like hit me and it brought me to tears. And I was like, oh my gosh. Because I've been kind of thinking that. I was like, I think I need to quit it because it's weekends and it's
Yeah.
sporadic and it's just really, really stressful on me to film and be on TV.
And
It's like,
family, and
uh,
when you got, like you said, you have the mom guilt, right? And when you
mm-hmm.
have that thing that takes up what I assume that take the reason that's a big problem is that weekends and stuff take up a lot of the time that you would normally
Right.
be able to delegate to family, I assume,
Yes.
right?
Because
Yeah.
weekends are either with my, every other weekend I'm with my kids and every other weekend I'm with my husband.
Right.
And during the week, like Wednesday through Friday are my days with my husband. So we were either filming Wednesday through Sunday when I had my kids or didn't have my kids. So it was just taking away time from me and my husband. And we only get each other half the time. And then at the time with my kids, I tried to schedule it when I didn't have my kids if I could, but
Yep.
it was too much. And it just kind of hit me. I'm like, you know what? I can do the on camera reels for my business. I can do video production for my brokers, make reels. This
Mhm.
business I'm already established and making good money in, like I don't need to make more, but I can if I want, and
Yep.
it just kind of made sense. I was like, I think I just need to stick with what I've been doing forever and just
So
go
you
like
knew,
stay with that.
yeah,
Yeah.
you knew you had that thing that you wanted, that you enjoy, that you love, but you
Mhm.
could do it in more than one way, right?
Yeah, totally.
That's cool. Yeah, and the same thing kind of happened to me when I was in Los Angeles, and I'm still finding my way back because I love being on camera and being a silly goofball, right?
Hmm.
And but the life that I was living out there wasn't falling in line with my core values, which is family is one of the most important things to me. And I was away from my family and I was missing out with my family. And one day I said, okay, why don't we go back and live back east for a year? And if I just can't stand it, that I have to get back to LA, I will. But I didn't. And I was like, all right, I'm still finding my way back to, I still fill those buckets a little bit with social media and stuff like that. And I think that's partly what I'd like to head to is with the podcast, we get to do more of that. And with social media with my clients and helping them on camera, I get to do more, fill that kind of creative bucket. Um, so yeah, I think it's important to consider that the path doesn't always have to be the most obvious path either. So
Hmm.
long as you keep those core values in mind and you tie them in wherever you can, you're going to be all right.
Yeah. A big way to evaluate like what's important to you in life is to if you won the lottery tomorrow, you had all the money in the
Hmm.
world, like
Yes.
would you
I
still
love this
do
game.
this? Yeah, would you still do this job? Or what would
Yes.
you fill your day with? What would you do all
Hmm.
day long? Because you're not just gonna sit around and veg. Like you're
If
gonna
you
do
literally
stuff.
had unlimited funds after you went on the vacation and bought the things
Yes.
you wanted to buy, you got bored with that because you literally had unlimited funds. You would get bored of that eventually. It might take a
Yeah.
while, but
Yeah.
after that, what would you be doing?
I
Yeah.
think I would
And
start a YouTube channel about my
hmm
farm. I'd be one of those girls,
yeah, see?
like a homestead YouTube
Right?
channel or something. I would still want to create stuff. I know that
Yeah.
for sure. And I think, I mean, obviously, I'd probably still keep the business going. I don't think I would fold it up just because I won the lottery. I honestly don't think I would
Yeah.
because I do enjoy it. Like,
Hmm.
I've gained a lot more respect for my job because I honestly, 2 years ago, I got burnt out. I struggle with burnout like super bad, which burnout basically means the symptoms of burnout is you're constantly exhausted. You lose interest in stuff that you used to have. It's got a lot like depression. Like you just don't want to do it anymore. You can't stand it. You're overworked. You just lose. I lost complete interest. I was like, ugh, the only reason why I kept doing this was because of the money. And then over the last year, I've kind of regained respect for my job and really started to enjoy shooting again. And a lot of that was me just taking a little bit more time off, getting a full-time assistant in place to help me so that I didn't feel burnt out all the time because I was doing too much. I mean, I still do too much, Neil. Seriously,
Yes.
I have a
You have
mental disorder
you have a
where I
problem
can't
with
stop.
yes,
It's
you do.
ADHD
Yeah.
on steroids. It's
Hmm.
bad. But
Hmm.
um, I'm working on that. So we talk about this a lot now because now I'm aware that I have this and it's like this whole
Yeah.
thing. Like, goodness
Yeah.
gracious. But yeah, it's hard for me to stop. And it's honestly, I think a lot of it where it's driven from is that we lack dopamine in our brain. Like we don't get the normal dopamine dose that other normal brained people, whatever you call that,
Brained
neurotypical,
people.
I
Are
think they
you one
call
of those
them.
brained people?
I'm one of those like
Yes.
really messed up brained people. No, I have
Yeah.
a great brain. It's also my superpower, but you search out for dopamine. So any way you can get it, right? Like
We
shopping,
get it from, I was just going
impulsively
to say,
shopping,
that's
impulsively
when I get that
eating.
package.
Yes, overeating. You can do it by starting arguments and fights with your loved ones. I mean, there's crazy
Mm,
ways, like
hmm.
sporadic, impulsive. That's all signs of ADHD because you get dopamine when you do things sporadic, which is me to a T. I'm always doing random things.
If you're like me, at some point you'll get tired of juggling multiple tools to deliver media to your clients. 2025 might be the year to simplify your workflow with HD Photo Hub. It's the all-in-one platform designed to enhance your efficiency.
That's right. HD Photo Hub is the one-stop solution for real estate media professionals. I use HD Photo Hub and I love the shopping cart and business tools.
You just love shopping in general, I think.
Well, yes, but my favorite part is the marketing kit. It creates stunning social media reels that my clients absolutely adore.
Yeah, that is true. And HD Photo Hub is offering an exclusive deal to our listeners. Sign up today using the promo code STS and get 10 free full marketing kit deliveries. That's 10 chances to impress your clients while saving precious hours on every project.
Let's go. Like, oh my gosh, you guys, I went down a total rabbit hole this morning. If we just go off track real quick? I have to tell you what I did.
How can we not?
I know. So I have a to-do list in Motion, which I'm using Motion again, which is great. Organizational tool. It's AI generated. So you put the tasks in there. It works in these tasks around your current calendar and then reorganizes them if something pops up. So it's great. If you're not using Motion, do it. It's great. Anyways, so I have this whole list and I literally have an hour and a half before I have to get ready for the day. And I decide to spend my morning. I get a text message from my assistant and she sent me some information on, those closing gifts that agents buy for homeowners when they sell their
Mhm.
house. They give them like a watercolor sketch of their house.
Yes.
Like you take a photo and you turn it into a watercolor. One of my clients is like, Rachel, you should offer this as like a service and sell it to your agents. That would be really cool for you to have it on your website. And I was like, actually, that's a really good idea. So I had Casey research it. She sent me a couple companies that do it just to see what it would cost or what the going rate is, And then I'm like, well, I know I've done this before in Photoshop. So hopped on YouTube, I spent 40 minutes learning, doing it, put it in Canva, made the edges look all torn, like just nerded out for 40 minutes. Dude, I have so much on my to-do list. Like this was not important. This should have been done next week when I have time. But instead I was like, I'm gonna do it right now because I'm motivated and I'm just gonna do it. I don't care.
And you get the dopamine out of that new thing. I think
Yeah.
you crave new things.
I do because I always have new ideas. And it's like, I don't know, stick to the same.
Yeah.
Like, and then I went down the path of like, I'm going to switch to Sony cameras. So that was a big one today.
Yeah.
That
The
gave a
good thing
lot
I
of-
was going to say too is Rachel and I have the benefit that we get to talk, and a lot of these things we're talking about right now, we've already talked about together and try to help each other out. So I would say too, it's important to find somebody with similar values that you can talk to and surround yourself with those kinds of people that have similar values, and you're going to feel a lot better because if your world is only based online, man, that's going to be rough.
Yeah,
But if you've got
totally.
surrounded by people that are feeling the same as you are, and the things that are important to them are important to you, it's going to be way better. And at least bounce some ideas and some of these thoughts off them. So I'm glad that this topic was brought up for that reason too.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, because your mental health is so important. Totally.
Yeah, totally.
Let's pause for a minute and kind of regroup, Neil.
Yeah. All right. So where do we want to
Starting
go
with your,
and wrap
let's
it
talk
up?
about your why. Let's talk about the why. So having a really strong why of why you started your business,
Yeah.
I think is important. Just understanding and your why isn't because I wanted to make money. No, we all got into this business. Obviously, everyone gets into business because you need to make money. But besides that, what else is it? Is it because you're supporting your family? Is it because you love to help brokers? What is your why? For me, I got divorced and I needed to support my family. It was all on me. And I was going to set myself up and have a retirement and be able to take my kids to do whatever they want. And I wanted to have a job that was fun and sporadic that I knew I wouldn't get bored of because I know myself.
Yep.
I get bored easy. So I was like, I can't do an office. I got to be on about. This sounds really fun to be around people, see new things every day. And yeah, and I genuinely love helping people and meeting
Yeah.
people. So that's
Yeah.
my why. What's your why, Neil?
My why, I was at a tech job and I was becoming more and more miserable, kind of locked in and not in control of my own destiny. You can only go so high and so fast when you're not the lead dog, right?
Hmm.
So I wanted the independence to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it and not have anybody say what I couldn't try, right? Or what my goals could be. So that was a big part of it is freedom. I think is the same part of what Jonathan was talking about, to do your own thing.
Hmm.
Um, and then I love the creativity. I wanted to do something that I could be creative and that I could go on that would have variety. I get bored with the same stuff over and over. So going on why that's why I talk about mini adventures, going on these different shoots to different places with different clients and stuff. I never know what's going to happen on that given day. I get some of that. I get to be creative, and I get to help people. I think that I wouldn't be as interested in this business if I didn't feel like I was impacting people. And
Mm-hmm.
that can be your agents and that could be the homeowners. And I feel like it's both. So, whatever I would do in life, I'd want to feel like I had an impact. And I think if I had all the money in the world, after I bought all the things I wanted to do and I went to all the places I'd wanted to go in the world and I ran out of new places to go to, I'd want to help people. And so that would be a big part of what I would focus on. I've always talked about my summer camp. And a big part of summer camp is having the fun, but it's also the helping the kids. And I'd probably teach them photography, or I'd teach them a way
Yeah.
that they could have a business that they could have control of their lives and they could decide where they were going to go, and there really was no glass ceiling. That's what I love about your own business. There's no limit to what you
Mm-hmm.
could do.
Right.
Um, because and not just money, right? But yes, money, because with the money, if you wanted to, what could you do if you may have built a business where you had millions or billions of dollars? What could you do with that money? How many people could you impact? Oh my God, I think about that a lot.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think to get to your why, I think that's a great why. And you're doing a summer camp. That is in your future. Like just start
Yeah.
talking about it as if you're already doing it because that's happening. That
Yeah.
has to happen. You talk about it too much to not make that happen.
So Rach,
Yep.
how would you tell somebody to start? How would they dig in to figure out exactly what their why is if it isn't obvious to them right off the bat?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of it is just it's not a financial motivation. It's something more than just a financial motivation. So like what is really driving you? You just have to dig deep, journal about it. Like, what's really driving you to get up every morning and to go do real estate photos? You know,
Hmm.
what's because money is only going to get you so far, and then that's going to be boring. And then you're going to be like, if you don't actually have a creative spark in you, or you don't really enjoy photography, or, you don't enjoy working with people, it's going to be really hard to continue in the long haul if you don't have a solid, like, foundation of your why of like I love the creative outlet, like I love to create things, that could be your why, or it could be simply I love to help people like you're saying,
Yeah.
or for
Yeah,
me
and the
it's like
creative, I think it's interesting to think about that too. How, if you really work that into your whole business, like if your biggest thing was the art side of it, the creative side of it, it's almost laughable sometimes when you think about real estate media because it turns into, especially when you grow a team, this generic thing eventually because you're trying to make it the same and consistent, right?
mm,
But if your core value was you love real estate because you love the art of it, you'd probably start to go the more design way of it, and that might be your focus. Or if you did real estate media, maybe you just focus on making it different so it is creative and so it is artistic and you don't fall in line with what everybody else does. And maybe if you do video production, you don't fall in line with the regular videos where the Porsche pulls up and it's the stereotypical thing. And like we saw at PMRE where they talked about storytelling in the video, maybe you start to do a totally different thing. And when the agent says, "Hey, can you do the Porsche pulling up?" and you say, "That's not our vibe, but you could use these people instead." You start to
mm,
build the clients that fall in line with your core values, and you could go in a totally different direction. Like, just if
yeah,
you really stayed focused on that.
totally. Yeah, and I think too, a good way to kind of stay grounded, because I think a lot of his question was like, how do you not let the
How do you avoid
money,
it?
like, how do you avoid it? Yeah. And I think a lot of it too is focusing on your small goals and small achievements every week. It's like if you sit down on a Sunday and you write
Yeah.
down, kind of go through all of your different goals for your week in all the areas of your life. So maybe you have like family, faith, fitness, finance, creativity, personal relationships. What else is there, Neil? Family. I already said family. Hobbies, that kind of stuff. And then
Adventure. Yeah.
yeah, adventure. Oh, good one. Yeah, and then you write down your goal, like maybe evaluate how you're doing in each area of your life. I think we talked about this already I think we did. We
Probably.
did a
That's
podcast
okay.
episode on this, and I
Mm-hmm.
used to do this every Sunday. I've kind of fallen off of it, but I still journal every day.
Yeah.
But I it's important to set up and kind of look at your week of what are your goals for the week, and then at the end of the week, kind of evaluate it, or even every day, just sit down and look at that journal or your planner or whatever and just see like, okay, what did I accomplish today? Like give yourself credit for the little accomplishments that you've made.
Mm-hmm.
Like this past week, we had a really good week and I had a huge Stripe deposit. And I was like, I looked at my Stripe account, I'm like, holy crap, that's amazing. Right? Which makes you feel really good. But
Mm-hmm.
then we also had some really, really good feedback from a few clients. One client was like, I am so glad that I found you. Like you and your team are absolutely amazing. I am so happy that I work with you. What can I do for you? How can I help you grow? I've had multiple like that in the last few weeks. And
Yeah.
it's just, and it's like that to me shows that like I care about these people. I'm invested in their success, and I'm obviously doing something right that makes them appreciate me. And that's more valuable to me than the big Stripe deposit, is
Mm-hmm.
like knowing. So like having those little moments where like that's success to me. Hearing the good feedback, that's how I measure my success. I'm like, are people
Yeah.
happy with what we're doing? Yes. I don't need to be a seven-figure business in order to be feel successful. I used to think that. I used to feel like, oh, we only did 750 this year. Like that's not good enough. We need to do 1 million this year. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's ridiculous. Like what? No, we're doing just fine. I'm paying my bills. I'm sustaining like four other incomes, which is incredible. Like it's great.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not going to be the end all. Like, what is that saying?
Be all end all. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Be all end all. Thank you.
I really love that, Rach. That's a very good point. If you could literally just make a list with check boxes for the week
Mhm.
of whatever your ties into some of your core things or the things that make you happy. Because if it was like me, little mini adventures, you just kind of journaling those mini adventures for the week, you would see, wow, look what I did this week. I
Yeah.
did all those things. Because I
Yeah.
even get a kick out of when I see the summary, those like a monthly summary from Google, and it shows like the places that you went, how many miles you traveled, and the new
What?
places that you went to that you'd never been to that town before. I get a kick out of that. Like, oh, look, I am, even though I'm
That's
not
cool.
going to Japan right now, these are
Right.
new places that I had never been. You
Right.
know what
And
I mean?
honestly, like life is, we literally have this moment. I've said this so many times, but we only have this moment right in front of us. And it's like, what am I going to do right now to enjoy the journey? Because the destination is, who knows what the
The
destination
destination's the
is
end.
always further away because you're never there. Let me just tell you that. Like,
When,
I started this business and I was like, I just want to do 3 work shoots a week and I'd be loaded. Like originally I'm like, oh my gosh, when I added up the potential. And now it's like you get 2 years in and I'm like, oh, I made 100 grand. Great. Oh, how much? Then our business triples and it's like, oh, we did 350 this year. And then it's like we go up to 750 and then we're almost to 900. And then I fall back down to like 650. And I'm like, oh no, now I'm failing. It's stupid just to
yeah,
hear my
yeah,
numbers and where
yeah.
we've been over the years. It's been like, and you can't really judge yourself on that.
Mhm.
It's like, are you enjoying what you're doing day to day? Because the money
Right.
is going to come and the money is going to go. Obviously, like
Yeah.
budget. I'm budgeting a little this year and I am so proud of myself for the little amount of money I've spent this month so far, Neil. I added it up and I was
Good.
like,
Nice
holy
job.
moly, like it's gonna be a good year
Nice.
if I can keep this up. Amazon
Yeah.
is gone.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I think um it's more about the journey than
Yeah.
the destination. And it's how can you enjoy every day and how can you make the best out of every day? And
Yeah.
there's so much pressure to always be better and always make more and always get more and have the bigger house and have the better car. Like I'm struggling because my yard's a mess. And I'm like, one of my clients lives right down the road and she drives by my house every day. And I know she can see my ugly yard. And like, why do I care what she thinks of my house? You know what I mean? Like, who cares?
Hmm.
But it's like trying to keep up with the Joneses is all
Yeah.
it is. You're just trying to keep up with everyone else,
Well,
you know?
even in my business where I went up that I had two other shooters, and then I ran into issues in the Florida scenario, and then there was an opportunity for my other shooter to go work full time somewhere else because it was too slow in the winter. And then I was like, I felt that like, oh, now I look like a failure. But I wasn't gonna not talk about it and not share it on the podcast because I don't want that. I don't want to be fake about all that stuff either. But the thing is too that you don't have to grow. You really
Mm-mm.
don't have to grow. If you are meeting your personal goals, whatever your income is, whatever how many jobs you're doing a week or a month or a year, so long as you're reaching your own personal goals, then that's a success. So
Exactly.
it is easy to get caught up in it, but try not to.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I think
I-
telling yourself too, I know this is so dumb because it's like on every sign and you can get bracelets that say this and like stickers, but like you are enough.
mhm,
I don't think we hear that enough.
yeah,
You really are enough just the way you are. And you don't have to go do more. Like
right.
what you're doing is enough. Just keep it up.
And billions of people work a job for their whole life that is pretty much a similar salary the whole time, you know? So it
Yeah.
is interesting that our industry is all about, making more and more money, and because most of the world actually isn't that way. They have their salary and maybe they get a 1% raise here and there. That's
Isn't
it.
that like
But
3 to 5% every year is like the average raise or
is that
something?
what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even if you just go up 10% a year, I mean, you're winning. Honestly, I took pretty much like a year. I didn't even try to grow for a year. I like just let it run. I was like, I'm just gonna when I was going through all that burnout, I'm like, I'm just gonna let it. It's fine. We're good, And we did just fine. I'm like, maybe.
Yeah.
And now this year, I'm like really trying to get. Well, I have a meeting tomorrow with a new shooter actually. Um, so I'm gonna get one more on just to free me up more because I don't want to shoot
Yeah.
as much. So
And I want to say too, a lot of the times when we're so focused on success and that, like I said, that destination of what that is in the future, and then that's when we're gonna start doing all the things like me. I'm gonna do that summer camp then, or I'm gonna give back then, or we talked about this recently, and that's why we started mentioning the California fires, and that you could donate there. Is that I was like, we had this, both of us were chatting about it. We had this idea like we could start giving back right now. Maybe not directly as much with our own wallets because I don't have a ton of money, but with our podcast, we can put out there to the world, hey, you guys could help out people here, and doing that now feels great. Like, oh, like we can. There's other ways to tap into even that giving back, and I saw that from another YouTuber who always mentioned a local shelter, a youth shelter that could use the money, and if you could donate, he mentions it like every episode, and I was like, oh, duh, that's amazing. And even though
yeah,
it's not directly from me, you have that, you did something, and you maybe made people aware of this charity that weren't aware before, and so that's partly why we tied in the California fires, and I don't know if we'll still have that one on this episode, or we might tie in another one. But we're going to start tying in some charities that you guys could donate to help out. And I don't think it has to be a lot either because, you know, there's numbers. There's so many people out there. Even giving a couple bucks can make a big difference in somebody's life.
yeah. I say, Neil, that we find one like let's grab a handful that we like, and then we can talk about kind of what they are and what they do.
Yeah.
People can donate. Maybe it's for helping kids with cancer, like all different things. So we
Yeah.
can kind of talk about what the charity actually does, and then people can donate if they want. I think that's a
Cool.
great idea. Yeah. But instead of really focusing on your revenue, just focus on something that aligns with your values. So like maybe you tie it to how many new clients you're getting instead of revenue, or how many reviews you got in the last month,
Yeah.
that just try to think about, don't look at the money as much as how happy your clients are. That's been another thing for me. I've like realized it doesn't matter how many clients we have. It's like how happy are the ones that we actually do have? Are they satisfied with the service they're getting from us? Like, what if I just focused more energy on them and really service them extra well? I guarantee you they're going to tell their friends because that's my number one lead source has been referrals. So if
Yeah.
I just continue that, which I kind of fell off of that for a couple of years because I got a little bitter and just grumpy and out of it. It was like burnt out, didn't want to do anything. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Sometimes you in this industry though, don't you feel like we just give our heart and soul and then it just gets stomped on? Like how many times? I think that's part of it too. It just kind of
Yeah.
wore on me because I didn't set boundaries. You have to set boundaries and make sure that you're not, because I am a people pleaser and I will bend over
Yep.
backwards to make people happy. And that's not always good
Yeah.
for myself. So
Yeah.
I've learned a lot, Neil, growing up into a real woman.
Is that the female version of Pinocchio? That sounds interesting. We see
Yeah,
that movie.
I'm a real girl.
I'm a real girl.
Yep.
Awesome. Oh, hi, chickens. My cat is coming over here. Well, awesome. I think we covered it. And so hopefully some of that's been helpful, guys. And if you guys have additional thoughts or questions or things you'd like us to chat about on the podcast, hit us up on social media. And
Shooting the
let
shit
us know.
with Rachel Ann and Neil Young. Well,
Yes,
shooting the shit with Rach and Neal. I never know our Instagram handle. It's so long. We picked the longest business name. It's like Focused Media Collective. It's too much. Why couldn't I just been?
Good luck finding us, but if you can, leave us a comment.
Yeah, we'd love some more topic ideas. And we'd love to hear any things that you guys struggle with in your business that you want us to discuss on the podcast. Stuff like this was a great question. And I think a great topic that a lot of us can resonate with. So just
Totally.
remember that your success is personal and it goes beyond your income. And curate your environment to focus on your goals, your personal goals, instead of money goals. And that'll help. So, and you are enough.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And we don't have a charity today, but we will next time.
Hi, Chicky.
We've got
There's
a
the
cat on the
And
podcast.
there's the kitty.
My cat's sleeping on my lap right now. It's so warm. It's great. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, have a great day, and we will see you on the next one.
On the next one.
Goodbye.